Kenny Anderson, Director of Multicultural Affairs for the City of Huntsville, and welcome to Impact. Each week we bring you information about some exciting things that are happening in our community, and today will be no different. Now, this is a time of year where lots of people start thinking about wants and needs, and they also start thinking about resolutions and changing their life and trying to find a better way to do whatever it is that they're doing in their life. Well, today we're going to talk about a very important resource right here in our city that some people may be aware of and some may not be, but they provide a holistic and comprehensive approach to making people whole once again. First of all, I want to introduce Gayla Kidd. She is the Director of Huntsville Assistance Program. Welcome to the broadcast.
Thank you, Kenny. It's good to be here.
It's good to be, and Happy New Year.
Same to you. Happy New Year.
Yeah.
And we're excited about what 2015 is going to bring. I wrote out my director's report for the end of 2014, and I said, we have been very blessed during 2014, and we are looking forward to the blessings continue in 2015 and the amount of people in this community, Madison County, that we can, the lives we can touch and help get on the right track, help fulfill what their mission is in this life.
And you know, this is a very generous community. I know you've been here a long time working in this community, and you've talked to lots of people, and the network of people who have the potential to share and to give and to strengthen the lives of others is really quite remarkable. And we're really blessed in this community to have so many resources to reach out to. So thank you for being here today and being willing to share this great information about your organization. I want to also introduce Eugenia Graves. She's with us here today, and she is working as a faith community nurse for the program, the Huntsville Assistance Program. Welcome to Impact.
Thank you, Kenny. Pleasure to be here.
And Happy New Year to you, too.
Happy New Year. It's going to be a good one.
It is going to be a good one. You know, something about the feel right now of the, again, as Gayla said, coming out of 2014 and assessing the victories and successes in spite of challenges in 2014. It's just exciting as we look ahead, knowing what kind of community we live in is a pretty remarkable thing. So thank you both for being here today. Let's start at the very beginning, though, because as I said, a lot of people may not even be aware of the Huntsville Assistance Program. It kind of sits right there in the middle of Huntsville, just off of Governor's Drive, and people probably pass it every day and don't even know it's there. Talk about what that agency is, what it represents, and why it exists.
We actually have two offices, Kenny. We have the one there on Governor's Drive, and about 4 years ago, we opened one up in Tony to help the people up in the north part of the county, because prior to this, they were having to drive from Tony, from Hazel Green, all of the north part of the county to come down to be interviewed in the Huntsville office. Well, as the gas prices, of course, they're low now, but at that time, gas was very expensive. It was difficult for them to get down. And our rule is, we do want you to come in and be interviewed, because there are other things that perhaps you need that maybe you don't even know that you need.
So talk about interviewed for what? What do people come to you for? Primarily,
we help people with rent, utilities, mortgages. I like to say we help you with the 4 big entities in your life. We have 2 big food pantries, so we feed your body. We can help you financially. We help you with your rent, utilities, mortgages. We sometimes help you with prescription drugs. We help you with your mental, because we do counsel, we do listen to you. We may be the first people that have ever sat down and said, I want to listen to you. I'm interested in your story. I want to know about you. And then we, of course, help you spiritually, because we are a Christian organization. We started out 13 years ago with 7 churches. We now have over 70 churches that are in our umbrella.
And what do these churches do, and how do they play a role in the Huntsville Assistance Program?
We get no government funding. All of our funding comes from our member churches and from individuals that know what we do and know the people that we are trying to reach. They also provide us with volunteers. We are a volunteer organization. All told, we probably have maybe 50 volunteers in our north and our south office. We could not run this without volunteers that come in and do the interviewing, that help with putting data in the database. We keep what we call the community database. the clearinghouse. Right now we have over 40,000 names in that database. It is a house contained. We can tell you how many times someone has been assisted. Are we enabling, or are we helping to get you back on your feet? We never want to enable. We want to always be that hand up, not that hand out.
So you're sort of a bridge between a person's, you're kind of a transitional point in between a person's maybe adversity or difficult circumstance or situation. Maybe they've been laid off, maybe they've been divorced, maybe they're dealing with some kind of financial crisis at this moment. And so you're kind of a bridge. You're not so much the answer to their problem, the total answer to their problem, but you're sort of a connector between this crisis and maybe them being able to resolve the situation and move forward.
You described it very accurately, Kenny. We were designed to help the working poor. And Madison County is a very rich county with very poor people. We have a lot of working poor, people that have the entry-level jobs. We were designed to help that family. We were designed to help those that hit a bump in the road. We have a lot of those that have been laid off, that their hours have been cut back. It's real easy for people to say, gee, you're going to have to cut back in your lifestyle. But you find that most people tend to live up to their income level. So it's really hard to tell people, you've got to cut back. You've got to cut back. And so we're there to help you over that hump, to help you sometimes find a job. We have a very large job board, employment board, that we upgrade. We have volunteer that comes in and upgrades that every Thursday, so it's always fresh.
Yeah, it keeps people informed about what's happening and what's available.
And we help, we talk with you about your education. And we can get you, we recently started a GED program at our North Hap office. Let us get you your GED. Then we can talk about, are you interested in going on to school? Maybe you want to go to trade school. Maybe you don't need to go to college, but in order to support yourself and your family, these are the things that our whole goal is to help you to have a better life.
Right, which is, I think, a wonderful thing. And you mentioned the working poor. I wanted to ask Eugenia something regarding that. I think statistics probably bear this out, even across the nation, that more and more people who would perhaps 5 to 10 years ago considered themselves to be middle-class people are now struggling because of the economic challenges that they face. So we think about the traditional working poor as people who are making minimum wage perhaps and just barely able to pay their expenses on a monthly basis. But you've got people in the middle class range now who are either transitionally dealing with things, or maybe they've lost a job, or maybe because of the cost of so many things have gone up. I know gas prices are down right now. We may even be dating this thing, because by the time it airs, gas prices may be back on the rise again.
Let's hope not.
Let's hope not. But you know, we never know what will happen. But you really have an interesting dynamic as far as that's concerned. You're probably seeing people that 5 to 10 years ago you would not have seen coming to you for assistance.
Yes, I remember especially one lady that had worked on the arsenal, and she was laid off. And she says, you know, it was very, very hard for me to come in here because I am usually the one helping other people. But, you know, I've lost my job and I don't know what to do.
Yeah. And you, Gayla also mentioned the whole idea about this holistic approach to addressing people's issues. And you've got a nursing background. You've been a nurse for many years. One of your concerns has to be, as you provide the physical sustenance for people, that they not only have that emotional health that's stable, and maybe perhaps, as Gayla said, the first opportunity to share their concerns emotionally and get the stabilization that they need, but also that they have physical support as well. And is this one of the things you also address when you talk to people?
Yes, I'm the faith community nurse at First Baptist Church. The HAP office is kind of in the corner of our property there. And I come over, and once they have been interviewed by Gayla and her staff, then they will come to me if they have high blood pressure issues, diabetes issues, whatever health issue. We can discuss that, find out what their resources are. You know, do they have a doctor, or how long has it been since they've seen one, and give them some resources in the community that they can use.
You know, one of the biggest problems I think with having any problem in life is how you feel. You know, and you wake up in the morning feeling pretty good, You may not have the best situation going on, but you at least feel a sense of hope. But if you got high blood pressure, if you got heart disease, if you've got diabetes, if you're dealing with migraines and ulcers and all kinds of medical challenges, and Gayla, you mentioned prescription drugs and the need for people to be able to pay for those kinds of things, which adds on to the stress of a person going through a difficult situation. It sounds like your program, in terms of the ability to address all of those issues, really presents people with a unique opportunity to address multiple things and really get the kind of help and support that they need.
Some of the things that have grown out of HAP that are not HAP programs but have grown out of our doing what we do. My philosophy has always been that if there is a need, if you see there is a need, let's don't talk about it, let's do something about it. And so a group of us, 6 of us, came together, and Eugenia was one and I was one, to start the free dental clinic for adults. So we've started that. Now, one of my other volunteers and I are now serving on what we call Wheels for Working Board. We want you to go to work. How are we going to get you there? You have an old car, but it is your means of transportation. We can repair that. Sometimes we can get cars that have been donated, and we can give that car to you so you can get to work. There, at HAP, we are starting 2 new programs this year. One, as I mentioned to you, is the mentoring program. You know, we have a lot of people that have been jerked up instead of raised up. So we need somebody that cares about the adult in that family. There are many programs that do wonderful mentoring with young people, but we want to mentor that mother, that father, let them know that we are walking the walk with you. We're talking the talk. We're going to help you on that right road. The other program that we are starting, Kenny, is a loan program. The dental clinic can pull your teeth for free, but you've got to have some dentures to go to work. So we can maybe loan you the money to get the dentures so that you're ready to go out to work. We're talking about the possibility of loaning you a down payment on an automobile so that you are able to get to work with that. There are many things. If you see a need in this community, let's come together and meet that need, talk about it limited wise, but move forward. Let's don't just say there's something out there needs to be done, we'll let someone else do it.
And also, let's not recognize that there's a need and then become paralyzed because of fear or inactivity or frustration even, and say, I just throw my hands up and give up. This is a very resourceful community.
Right.
And as you said, it's a community of means. There are many, many philanthropic groups and individuals here who have the ability to make an impact in people's lives and are willing to do that at every stage of life. And so we've got to keep people energized and engaged and inspired and connected to the sources that they need in order to make that difference. And I'm really inspired by that. So just kind of walk us through the process. When somebody calls, I've got a need today, I just lost my job, my rent is due, and I'm hungry. What does a person do?
We take calls on Wednesday afternoons from 1 to 3, make appointments, and then we have you come in for an interview. I really feel that we've got to see you in person. We need to see your face, you hear your story before we know exactly what you and your family need.
It's part of that assessment process, a face-to-face contact.
Exactly. You may come in thinking, if I can just get my utility bill paid, everything's going to be all right. But what are you going to do next month? What are you going to do the month after that? Let's talk about a plan.
Good.
And this is where the mentoring comes in. Let's plan. Let's sit down and do an assessment of what it's going to take to get you on that right road.
And let's not just give you a lump of money and then you go out and blow it and then still have other needs. Let's strategically decide what the best approach would be.
If we need to send you for financial counseling, let's do that. There are many, as you said in the beginning, we have all been in this community and out on the streets. We all see the needs that need to be met here. So we know who's doing anything at any particular time. So if you need to have financial counseling, we will send you to somebody that will do that for free. If you need to have family counseling, there are agencies that do that very, very well. There are just so many resources that we need to be tying ourselves into. So those are the things that we do. Then we try to stay in touch with you and your family and find out, have you moved forward? What is happening now? What are the stumbling blocks that have come up since we interviewed you last? And we get a number of people that come back and say, you know, this is the way I came in. When you get somebody that says, when I came in, I was homeless, and now I have moved forward, and I am now housed and looking towards maybe habitat, and looking towards something in the future. You know that you're doing what is a benefit to not just the person, but the community.
And you look at the Habitat model. I'm glad you said that, because that's just a great model, I think.
It is.
How Habitat just doesn't give houses to people. Habitat gives financial counseling. It does a thorough assessment of the family. It finds out if they're right fit for home ownership.
Right.
And then there's a sweat equity component. The idea
Exactly.
that you've got to invest some energy in this process, because anything that's just given to anybody, I believe this about life in general, if somebody just gives you something, you just don't appreciate it as much.
You don't
the value
value it.
isn't the same.
No.
And so we're not saying that the person in need needs to jump through hoops. We're simply saying that we recognize that we're committed to your long-term success. We want to connect with you in this short-term crisis, but we're committed to your long-term success.
Exactly.
So that at some point you won't need to keep depending on some resource outside of your own ability to make something happen in order to move yourself forward in your family and to make the situation better.
Exactly. And there are so many people that are doing things so well. We don't need to duplicate what Habitat is doing. We don't need to duplicate what Family Services or whoever. What we need to do is to support that, but look for those other needs. There are many needs that are not being met that maybe this is something that you need to look at. You know, I jokingly, seriously say that I'm a nosy Rosie and a busybody. You know, if there's something out there, let's come together and get this done. Let's don't say, gee, they're doing it well, so I think I'll do the same thing. That's not accomplishing the ultimate goal of spreading the resources and helping people to have a better life.
Which is really practicing what you preach too, because you're trying to help people manage their resources more efficiently, and you're saying we do the same thing.
Right.
We're not in competition with anyone. We're simply trying to identify where the best resources are,
Right.
and let's work together. As I always say, teamwork makes the dream work, and together everyone achieves more. So if we've got this collective effort to help people in the community to become better people, to become more stable in terms of their own personal daily living, then we've all won as a consequence.
Of course.
It's a win-win situation.
Of course,
Yeah.
of course. Eugenia had brought up about the nurses, and tell them your idea, Eugenia, of getting more nurses into the North Hap office that could help, because she has been such a benefit to our central office.
Well, there are probably over 50 parish nurses, or faith community nurses as they're called now, within Madison County. And a lot of them have not started a health ministry, maybe at their church or in an organization. And so it would be great if they would, you know, some of those would step forward and connect with the North Hap especially, and they would be very beneficial.
Yeah, and again, on the whole point of healthcare and, you know, in keeping with the new year and all the motivation that people have to live a better life, this would be a great time for somebody who's thinking about getting involved in a community to step out and say, hey, I've got these skills, I've got these interests, I've got these abilities. Maybe I've even got this great resource over here that can provide some assistance. Let me partner with HAP in order to be able to do that. So as people are listening this afternoon, and there may be someone who wants to volunteer, and I'm glad Gayla said this earlier, that, you know, the backbone of these types of agencies are volunteers. I mean, you hear that consistently across the board. If you've ever volunteered or you've ever been in charge of an agency that depends on volunteers, you recognize the value of those individuals that commit their time. And oftentimes there are people out there that want to get involved, but they don't know quite how to do it. So somebody who wants to support the Huntsville Assistance Program, what would they do? Where would they begin?
They could call us on our what we call our clearinghouse number, 256-534-1928, 256-534-1928. We have a web page, HuntsvilleAssistanceProgram.org. And they can go on the webpage and get the information, our email address. Drop me a line. I'll certainly answer you back. We're always looking for good volunteers. And the only thing that I tell you is once you come in, you get hooked. Because I know that we get a blessing every day. I hope that we are giving a blessing.
Yeah, you know, it's one of the irrefutable points of life that when we step out of our own selves to give and share ourselves with someone else, we get back so much more than we ever even imagined. And we're giving, but we're getting so much more in return just from that simple act that we have chosen to engage in helping somebody else in their life. And I mean, it's just one of the best places that a person can be in life. In fact, one of the best ways to forget your problems is to step into somebody else's life and help them out. I mean, your problems will just diminish in the sight of you know, what many people are actually dealing with in life. This is an especially challenging time of year too. It's the first of the year. Although it's a brand new year, people are kind of limping into 2015 sometimes.
Good way to put it.
And you know, we've got weather challenges, so heating bills are higher during this time of year. We've got homeless people who live in the street. We've got all these different things going on. And so this is an especially challenging time for agencies like yours. We ask for volunteers, but we also know that you've talked about churches that help to fund this initiative. If there are people out there who would like to support this agency, you would accept their support, wouldn't you?
Certainly would. I certainly would. If there are pastors listening, deacons, elders, whoever who would like for me to come, speak to them, speak to their congregation, whatever, to let them know what we do. We do better if we all come together rather than each individual church trying to do their part. Yeah. It's better if we pool it all. It's better if we use the clearinghouse so that we know who is hitting, I call it taking the cream off the top, who is really the party that helping them is going to end up helping the whole community. Sure. So I would urge them, I encourage them, I would covet their calling us.
Sure. And I would speak also to, we've got a lot of colleges and universities here with clubs and organizations that are looking for community projects. We've got fraternities and sororities out there that are interested in getting engaged in the community. There are lots of different organizations, there are even some individuals out there that are looking for the right fit for their dollars to be able to support something positive and productive in our community. And the Huntsville Assistance Program would be a great way to do that. Director Gayla Kidd, been waiting to get you on this program for a long time.
And I've been waiting to be called.
Thank you for being here. Would you come back and see us sometime?
I sure will.
Thank you. Eugenia Graves, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure. We
appreciate both of you and the work that you guys are doing. And tell people one more time the phone number and the website that they can get a hold of you.
Telephone number is 256-534-1928, 534-1928.
And the website?
And the website is HuntsvilleAssistanceProgram.org.
All right. HuntsvilleAssistanceProgram.org. Don't forget it. Write it down. And check out the work that they're doing. And if you feel so moved to get involved, we encourage you to do so. As always, I'm Kenny Anderson, delighted to be able to share information with you about things that are happening in our community. We'll see you in our next broadcast. In the meantime, have a great day, and we'll talk to you again soon.